We stand with Israel.
I love Israel. I love Israel.
The bond between our two countries is unbreakable.
The eternal friendship.
Relationship is very important.
We are you and you are us.
You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist, and I'm a Zionist.
We are with you. We are with Israel 100%.
And if Israel is attacked, America will stand with Israel.
The influence that you see today on the American politics by the Jewish lobby and the AIPAC was began in the 1906 when 81 Jewish members founded an American Jewish Committee or AGC, which main purpose was to protect the rights of civil and religious rights of the American Jews. But when the early 20th century, when the modern Zionism started gaining momentum, after the first Zionist Congress, which was held by the Theodor Herzl, who was also the founding member of the modern Zionism in 1897 in the Switzerland, its main purpose was to protect and to support the Jewish homeland in the Palestine. So after that Congress, AGC also expanded its scope and also advocating the Jewish homeland in the Palestine. A major milestone was achieved by the Jewish lobby in 1922 when the US Congress has passed a joint resolution for the establishment or a settlement of the Jewish homeland in the Palestine. Then 1948 when the Israel has declared his independence, and just after the 11 minutes of his declaration, the US president, who became the world's first leader who recognized Israel, and the pressure the Jews had built on the President Harry was written in the book of the American Presidents and the Middle East, written by the George H.W. I don't think I ever had as much pressure and propaganda aimed at the White House as I had in this instance. The persistence of a few of the extreme Zionist leaders acquitting by political motives and engaging in political threats. After the 1948, now the main purpose of the Jewish lobby in the America is to shift the US security focus towards the Israel, and AIPAC has the main focus towards the strong US-Israel relations, billions in military aid, political backing, and diplomatic protection at the international forums like United Nations. It's not just the Jews who support the Jewish settlement in the Palestine, but also a majority of the Christian Zionists, especially the evangelist Christians, who support the Israel and the Jewish settlement in the Palestine, because according to them it was the biblical prophecy that this land was belonged to the Jewish people, and it was written in the Old Testament Genesis. I will bless those who bless you, and to your descendant I give this land.
This right is described in the Bible, and it extends through modern times. As for your enemies, who are also the enemies of America, I am a proud Jew with 3,700 years of civilized history.
The Lord said, I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you, I will curse.
I believe God gave to the Jewish people 3,500 years ago.
As long as I'm a United States Senator, I will do everything in my power to ensure broad and bipartisan support for Israel's security.
I came into Congress 13 years ago with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate. And I've worked every day to do that.
And also the evangelist Christians also believe that when the Jews had settled in the Palestine, then there the third Messiah, Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, will come to the earth and will rule the whole earth. The most important thing, the evangelist has a major political power in the Republican Party. That's why the Israel has got the unwavering and unconditional support from the United States. And the evangelist Christians also support the Jewish settlement in the West Bank and the Gaza. Support for the Israel and the Jewish settlement has been endorsed by across the all-American president: Harry Truman, John F. Kennedy, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, George Bush. AIPAC has succeeded in getting the aid for the military and the economic support from the America. From the 1946 to 2025, AIPAC has achieved and getting the aid for the Israel of about $174 billion. A MOU has also signed between the America and the Israel that from 2019 to 2023, America will give Israel about $3.3 billion in foreign military fund and $500 million for the corporate missile defense system. Since the 2009 America has provided Israel $3.4 billion in funding for missile defense system and $1.3 billion for the dome support. In the recent Gaza war, America has provided Israel about $12 billion in the foreign military financing, missile defense, and the missile defense iron beam support. This is the American lobby who are doing the influence the American politicians and the American politics by the AIPAC, and has achieved about $240 billion in terms of the aid for the economic and the military support for the Israel. All these things are not doing itself, but the AIPAC has put millions of dollars every year in the American politics to influence and to support the candidates who are the pro-Israeli. And for this, in the 2024 election, AIPAC has put about $100 million into the American politics to support the Jewish supported candidate. The recent example is Jamal Bowman and the Puri Bush, who are against the pro-Israeli and calling the Israel is doing the genocide in the Palestine. And in result, AIPAC has put millions of dollars against them, about $9.9 million against the Jamal Bowman and the $5.2 million against the Puri Bush to defeat in the next election.
Punishment of 2.3 million people is a war crime.
AIPAC has already started to spend against me in this race upwards of $20 million. Our democracy is not for sale. I need your help.
AIPAC has already said they're going to spend over $20 million to try to buy this seat from the people in the district, simply because we support a permanent ceasefire in Gaza.
And in the result, on June 25, 2024, Jamal Bowman has lost the election against the pro-Israeli candidate from 59% to 41%. This is the AIPAC has doing in the American politics. And the Jamal Bowman election became the first most expensive House primary election in the US history. This also marked a second record also, that this becomes the first time a current squad member has lost a primary election. Some of the American politicians also criticize the AIPAC for the influence on the American policy.
AIPAC is a pro-war lobby that hides behind the Jewish community to justify its agenda of death and destruction. We want a thriving future for Israelis and Palestinians, equality, justice, safety, dignity for everyone.
Hamas's unprovoked attacks. And I'm like, wait a minute, man. Like, see, so we're just gonna start lying? Like, what do you mean unprovoked? They're living in apartheid. Dome is a representation and another weapon to use in continued apartheid, oppression, open air prison, occupation, and now the genocide, but ultimately the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians.
American politician Major Taylor called for AIPAC and Christian United for Israel committee to register as foreign agents, reflecting concern over foreign influence.
And, I think organizations like AIPAC and Christians United for Israel should register under the law as foreign agents, because they are lobbying on behalf of Israel. It's not wrong to say no to Israel, and we need to remind everyone, Israel has nuclear weapons. And to my Christian friends out there, this is the secular government of Israel that we're talking about, and not the Israel of the Bible.
In the leaked voice of these AIPAC CEO, that how they influence
pressure, the way that they know how to an administration, as it will be with this administration. Bob was talking about the people who will get appointed into some of these jobs. Look at the top level, you talk about Marco Rubio and Elise Stefanik, and Michael Waltz. Those three people have something in common. They all serve in Congress. They all have relationships with key AIPAC leaders from their communities.
The presidents who gone against the Israeli lobby will have to pay the price, from John F. Kennedy, George Bush, Jimmy Carter. These three men who gone against the Israeli lobby will have to pay the price. If we are talking about the John F. Kennedy, in 1961, news circulated that the Israel was going to establish his own nuclear power bomb with the help of the France. So in 1961, John F. Kennedy pressurizing the Israel to investigate the Dimona plant, which was built with the help of the France. So in 1961 to 1963, Israel was continuously refusing the request. And in 1963, an American investigator who sounded the alarm, and John F. Kennedy pushed harder the Israel to investigate the plant. But a month later, in November 1963, John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Until date, there was no proper report was published by the CIA and the American officials that who was behind the assassination of the John F. Kennedy. In 1969, an unofficial deal was done between the America and the Israel, which main purpose was to that the Israel will not declare the test, and in return US will not pressurize the Israel for his investigation. And in 1986, photos revealed that shows that Israel had about 100 to 200 nuclear weapons, confirming the threat that John F. Kennedy has decades before. In the 2009 United Nations conference, Iraqi President Gaddafi has also claimed that behind the assassination of the John F. Kennedy was the Israeli lobby AIPAC and the Mossad.
Who killed Kennedy? Why did this Israeli kill Kennedy's killer? Then Jack Ruby, the killer of the killer. The whole world knows that Kennedy wanted to investigate the Israeli Dimona nuclear reactor. This involves international peace and security and weapons of mass destruction. That is why we should open this file.
Some critics said that behind the assassination of the John F. Kennedy was the Jewish lobby AIPAC and the Mossad. The John F. Kennedy, under his presidency from 1976 to 1980, he was played a vital role in the peace deal between Egypt and the Israel. But he wanted the full autonomy of the Palestinian territories. This full autonomy demand angers the Israeli lobby, and in return he have to pay the price in terms of the loss in his presidency. In 1980 election, American Jew has dropped his vote from 71% in 1976 to 49% in 1980s election. Later on, he also criticizing the Israeli and the Jewish settlement in the Palestinian territories. He also mentioned when he was in the 2015 former president visit in the Israel, he mentioned that the two-state solution was impossible till the Netanyahu presidency because the Palestinian and the Hamas group was interested in the peace deal. Similarly, if we are talking about the George Bush, who delayed the $10 billion aid to the Israel that was promised to the Israel to stop the illegal settlement in the Palestinian territories of the Jewish people. This angered the Jewish people and the AIPAC. So in 1992 election, the American Jews had dropped his vote from 35% in 1988 to just 11% in 1992. And he had lost the election in 1992. And the George Bush has famously said, "I am the lonely little guy standing against some political forces." And about the George Bush was mentioned in the Times of Israel article, the 41 presidents beat AIPAC but lost 24% of his Jewish backing after confronting Israel over the settlement. It's a lesson US leaders since have taken to heart. And it was also mentioned as one lonely little guy going up against the pro-Israeli lobby has become a staple of the narrative that Israel backers while excessive power in the American political system. Now you can estimate how deeply rooted the AIPAC and the Jewish lobby influence on the American politics. Even the US presidents will not have the courage to go against the pro-Israeli lobby. If they go against the pro-Israeli lobby, they have to pay the price, like John F. Kennedy, Jimmy Carter, and George Bush. And in the recent 2024 election, both men have to pay the price. They go against the pro-Israeli lobby and calling the Israel they are doing the genocide in the Palestine. They will lose the primarily election. This how deeply rooted the AIPAC into the American politics.